Bonjour tout le monde! Bonjour everyone! Hello, I am Karina and I am your host for today. Well, in today's video, we will be talking about how to change the endings of adjectives and how to use the adjectives, whether they go before the noun or after the noun. First of all, let's start with neutral adjectives. Neutral adjectives is a name that I've made up myself, but basically what are neutral adjectives? They are adjectives that stay the same when they're crossing over masculine and feminine. For people who have learned a bit of French, you know that when you transfer a masculine word to a feminine word, you either add E or you have to change the ending. Well, in this case, neutral adjectives don't change at all. They stay the same for masculine and feminine. For example, drôle, which is funny, optimistic, calm, adorable, adorable, and so on and so forth. In the highlighted yellow part, they are the English translation, and the unhighlighted part is the French word. Okay, so let's move on to regular adjectives. So, what are regular adjectives? While I just explained that neutral adjectives, the ending doesn't change, for regular adjectives, the ending does change. From going to masculine to feminine, the most common way to change it correctly is to add an E at the end. In this slide, I have highlighted the E, and as you can see, from poly, it goes to poly with an E. Intelligent, it goes to intelligent with an E. Amusant, it goes with amusant with an E. And down below, I have also included the translation. Poly means polite. Intelligent, intelligent, spelled the same way. Amusant, as similar to amusing, which is also funny. But yes, regular adjectives, in order to change it to feminine, just add an E. However, this is just a tip and a warning. If you see any adjectives that are like normal adjectives that have a accent circumflex, E, like on top of the E, it looks like there's a small slash. It will not be a neutral adjective and it will not be the feminine version of a masculine adjective. It is actually already in the masculine form, so in order to change it to a feminine form, just add a normal E to the end. So we've been talking about neutral adjectives. We have also talked about regular adjectives and their E's. Then what are irregular adjectives? Personally, I like to categorize the irregular adjectives into two groups. The first group I will be introducing is the adding endings to the irregular adjectives, in which this case, all you have to do is take the last two letters of the adjective and then you flip them and then you add it onto the original word. So an EL ending is basically just taking the EL ending of the word and then you flip it into LE and then you add it onto the masculine form and then it becomes a feminine form. On the left side, which is the one that you don't see any red letters with, it is the masculine form of the adjective. And then in the right side, you can see the LE highlighted in red or written in red. They are the feminine form after it undergoes the changes of the ending. Moving on to the IL ending. So IL ending, this is similar to the EL ending, but the difference is that the ending for the masculine form ends in IL, while the similarities are that you both add the le, like gentil. When it transfers into the feminine form, you add le. Same thing with the on ending, you double the n, however you add the e, like bon, which means good, and then you just add the ne, attach the ne, and it will become the feminine form. For here, the s is the same thing, just double the s, add a e. As you can see from the previous patterns, a lot of feminine words end in e, which is correct, but never forget that not all feminine words end with e. The ne ending, same thing, just flip the n and e and then attach it to the masculine in order to get the feminine. Et ending, same thing, flip the t and e and then attach it to the masculine in order to get the feminine. And now we will be moving on to the second category of irregular adjectives. So what are becoming endings and how are they different from the add-on endings? So the add-on endings, as you can see, you just repeat the last two letters or the last letter and then add an e. However, becoming endings have nothing to do with repeating the letters. The ending changes into a total different ending when you're trying to change it from masculine to feminine. So the first becoming ending that I'd like to introduce is the EUX. EUX. When in masculine form, they end with EUX, but in feminine form, they end with EUSE. There is no repeating words, and usually for these becoming words, the ending changes completely. For example, généreux, as you can see from the slide, the EUX completely changes to EUSE. The TEUR ending, as you can see, the masculine form ends with TEUR, yet the feminine ends with TRICE. This change can also be used when you're talking about professions, because some professions will also end with the TEUR for masculine, and you change it into TRICE or TRICE into the feminine. But for the sake of this video, since we're talking about adjectives, we won't really mention the professions, but if you search online, there will definitely be like professions that end with TEUR and they belong to the masculine group. The if ending becomes iv. So sportif, as you can see, it ends in IF for the masculine, and then when changed to feminine, it ends in IVE. Sportive, naive, negative, they all switch to IVE when going into the feminine form. So after all the talking of how to change the endings of adjectives, we will now talk about which endings go before the noun and which one goes after the noun. So normally when we mention the adjectives that go before the noun, we talk about the bag rule. So what is the bag rule? B stands for beauty, whether or not the object or person you're describing looks nice. Are they pretty? Are they ugly? Are they good looking? Beau or belle. A stands for their age. Are they young? Are they old? Is the furniture you're saying like worn out? Is it a new type of toy? A new type of furniture? G, which stands for goodness. For example, is the person kind? Is the person mean? Are they good? Are they bad? The food could be better. The food was bad. It was good. Like these things all begin and belong to the category of goodness. Finally, the S rule, which determines and stands for size. So what is the thing you're talking about? Like what size is it? Is it small? Petite? Is it gros? fat, or is it grand, large, small, like maybe tall? They all belong to the size category. The Beggs rule determines where the adjectives are. So these descriptions all make the adjective go before the noun. For example, siz een tres hot professor. Like he is a very tall professor. The adjective goes before the noun, and in this case, the noun is professor, the professor. Or elle est une grande maison. She has a very big house. And here you can see the adjective that describes big is before maison, which is house. Other than that, in the first year of French, or French 100, except for the Beggs rule, every other adjective goes behind the noun unless the professor or your professor tells you that there are specified adjectives that go before the noun. But yes, maybe in the future, as you progress with the French language, you'll learn more about the adjectives, and maybe you'll discover those adjectives that don't belong into the Beggs rule, but still go in front of the noun. But yes, that's all for today. Thank you very much for watching. Au revoir!